Well, the LitBuzz is super excited to be working with Fabled Fantasy Events and highlighting authors attending the Romantasy BookCon and Midnight Masquerade to be held October 3rd through 5th, 2024 in Orlando. And we have Rebekah Gray, who writes under RM Gray, as one of those authors. Rebekah, thanks so much for chatting with us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am, I write young adult fantasy. Um, I just recently released my debut Nightweaver, in October, and that's been really fun, really exciting. Um, just like general about me, or
Yeah, just for people that, since you're new to the scene, give us a little background. How about your dogs, your husband?
Yeah, absolutely. So, my husband is like my biggest, he's the best. He's my biggest supporter. He's been with me through the whole process. And then of course we have two big dogs. We have a German Shepherd and a Great Dane, which we actually named them after, I don't know if you remember the Sword in the Stone, the Disney movie.
Yes,
So
yes.
we have Merlin the German Shepherd, and then we have Archimedes, which we call him Archie the Great Dane. So, they're a lot of fun. And then yeah, we live in Texas. So it's kind of turned off a little. Today's actually gloomy. I'm looking out my window. It's like overcast. So that's nice. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, that's just a little bit about me.
So what drew you to writing? Like, right, I mean, everybody's writes, but I mean, like, to write a book.
Yeah, well, I've just been doing it since I was a kid. Really before I ever thought about doing it professionally in any type of way, or even like publicly. Like I never would let my family read anything that I was writing when I was a kid. Um, but yeah, I always loved to read. I was a huge reader, and yeah, so I at some point decided, well, why couldn't I do this, on a bigger scale, I guess, actually try to, learn the craft of storytelling and things like that. And so, yeah, so that's kind of, I just was inspired by a lot of books that I loved, and I thought, why not give it a shot? And
So,
so
so what books and authors would you say were instrumental or influential in your life?
I have so many. I try to narrow it down. I always tell people I one of my favorite authors. Her name is Gail Carlson, and I always feel like I'm saying her name wrong. It's either Levine or Levine. Um,
Yeah.
but she wrote Ella Enchanted. But I actually, my favorite book ever is The Two Princesses of Bamar. And that was just like my absolute favorite book when I was a kid. I still like reread it once a year. But she wrote a book on storytelling for like younger kids called Writing Magic. And that was like one of the first books that I ever really read on the craft of storytelling. So that felt, monumental to me when I was a kid. It like really uh, opened my eyes up to, the whole storytelling craft. And then also I love Jodi Lynn Anderson. She wrote a book called Tiger Lily, which is kind of a retelling of Peter Pan, but through Tiger Lily's perspective. And it's beautiful, and it's heartbreaking. And I love what she did with the lore of Peter Pan. And I'm a huge Peter Pan fan. I'm a big Disney fan. If you couldn't tell by my dog's names. But yeah, so I love that. And then also in that kind of that same vein, there's an author named A.G. Howard. And she wrote a series called Splintered, and it's kind of a reimagining, almost a sequel to Alice in Wonderland. And so that was like, I just love that series, and I love her writing, the style. I always tell people she makes this really dark world seem really cozy. And so that's kind of something that I try to even do with my own work, is give you a story that's terrifying, but also that you'd kind of want to like visit that world. So yeah.
Yeah, that's going to lead me. I have a couple questions going down that, but first,
Okay.
let's go ahead and tell people about Nightweaver.
Yeah, absolutely. So Nightweaver is, I always like to tell people it's like Parts of the Caribbean meets like a gothic Downton Abbey, but with a dark magical twist. It's It's got and I told people too, if you like Crimson Peak or anything like that, you'll like Nightweaver. It's fun. It's got pirates, it's got magic, it's got monsters. I was kind of what got me, writing Nightweaver. I kind of had I've always been obsessed with Pirates of the Caribbean. That was like my huge thing when I was growing up. I always tell people, I actually when I was a kid, I would wear pirate costumes to like the midnight premieres, which was super embarrassing for my whole family, but like I was living my best life. Um,
So I
so
know what
I
you're going great, then I'll be able to find you. Is that what you're saying?
exactly. Yeah, exactly. I've got it all figured out. But yeah, so I wanted to kind of do something with pirates. And I love how Pirates of the Caribbean, they've got a lot of like supernatural elements and stuff. Wanted to do something like that, but I wanted to combine some traditional fantasy elements with that. And just kind of see how that would jive. And I always tell people too, if you love pirates, especially if you love like pirate fantasy, there's not a lot out there in that sort of, in that arena. And if you love Pirates of the Caribbean, it's like, well, rewatch Pirates of the Caribbean. So, they always tell you to write the book that you want to see on the shelf. So that's kind of what Nightweaver was for me. It was just kind of what I wanted to read. So yeah.
So without giving a lot of spoilers, tell us about Violet.
Okay. So I always tell people Violet is she's fiercely loyal. She's so dedicated to her family. And she'd do anything for them. She's stubborn, she's determined, she's brave, but she's not brave in a way that she's not afraid. She's constantly afraid, but she's willing to do like I said, whatever it would take to protect her family. So she was a really fun character to write. She's resonated with a lot of people. She goes through the loss of her brother, and so sort of her journey of dealing with grief and kind of reconciling with that, and yeah.
So that's what I think is so I got your book when I knew I was going to have this
Thank
opportunity to
you.
run with it, so no spoilers.
All
Um,
right.
but I'm far enough along to see that you have done an amazing job. It's a YA book, but it really appeals to all ages. And I always look at a book that does that because it's very layered. You have your surface story
Right.
of what's going on, you have a character and her development, but then, and tell me if I'm wrong, I see also bigger parallels um, to even Lucifer's Fall, and so it's very intriguing as an adult to
Thank
see
you.
all where you're going on that. Were you intending to do that, or did that just happen? Or
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, I'm inspired by every story, that I've ever came in contact with. And that was something that I kind of can't help but fuse into my writing. And so yeah, I wanted to plant that subtly enough that you would pick up on it, but not that it was necessarily like just totally in your face. Um, you
Mhm.
know, so yeah, I mean, if you're picking up on it, then I feel like I've done my job.
Yeah, because and it's so I, I I don't freely, just to fluff you up, but really
Right.
for a new book to weave so many facets of a really good story together. I mean, and you said, yeah, this is not the first time you've been writing. You just haven't published.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So can you tell us, since like I said, I haven't finished the book, so I don't know how this ends, but is there more in this world?
Absolutely. Yes. So there's four more books coming. So it's a series of five. So there's four more on the way. I'm working on the sequel right now. So yes, there's more.
How do you have that planned out? Like releasing, do you think? Are you hoping to do?
So I've told people that I haven't set any type of concrete date just because I like to under promise over deliver. So but my goal would be to release, obviously I would like to release the sequel next year. I don't want to make
Perfect.
anybody wait longer than a year. And
Okay.
then the rest of them will kind of sort of fall in line with that. I think I'll get quicker as we go along. There's some events in the later books that I'm really excited to write. So I feel like that is going to push me to get the books out quicker because I want to
So
get there.
So you're a plotter then, as an
Well,
author.
I would say that I am full on in the middle. I have all of the series plotted out, and I know exactly how it's going to end. I know exactly how every book ends. I know plot points that I want to hit and things. But as I write and draft, I like to be surprised. So I like to leave myself room. I always tell people I know where I'm going. I just don't know how I'm going to get there. So I'm squarely in the middle, I would say. Yeah.
So how is it that you got hooked up to come to this BookCon?
So I got connected on Instagram. They had followed my account, and I was like, "What is this?" I clicked on it, and I was like, "This looks amazing." I mean, obviously, Masquerade Ball. I'm sold, And so I got connected with them, and then all of my friends started. Everybody kind of started getting into it at the same time. A lot of my author friends were like, "Are we going? Are we going to this?" And like I said too, we're big Disney people. So the moment I told my husband it was in Orlando, he was like, "We've got to go," you know. So
Right.
yeah. Oh, sorry, say it one more time.
I said, so that was the selling point, going to
Yeah,
Disney.
exactly. Yeah, I was like, "Hey, we can kind of do both." So no, but he's been great. Like I said, he's super supportive. So the moment that he saw like anything like that, he was like, "Let's do it. Let's go. That'll be a lot of fun." So yeah, that's kind of how I got connected.
So other than Disney, at the BookCon, have you, so you haven't done any of these yet as an author?
No, I haven't. Yeah. This is the first one that I have gotten connected with that I'm going to be attending so far. There's a couple of things that are in the works. But yeah, this is the one that I'm really looking forward to.
So is there anything for fans of the series? I assume you'll have books at the table and you'll be signing
Absolutely.
them. Are there opportunities to buy those ahead of time so that you had them, excuse me, signed there? Or is it just buy them at the table and have them signed then?
That's a good question. I've so far my model has been probably buy at the table and get them signed right there. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I'm glad that you asked me that. So I now I can be thinking about it.
Do you have a local bookstore also if somebody can't attend that actually sells maybe signed copies of your book, or not to that point yet?
So it's crazy that you asked me that. So there's a store, probably about I would say an hour away from me, in a town called Waxahachie, and
Uh-huh.
they're carrying Nightweaver, and I'm actually going up there to do a signing on the 9th of December. So I'll sign I'm sure I'll do a stock sign whatever they've got. But then I have a local bookstore where I live. It's called Fabled, and I'm actually going in to talk to them today about potentially stocking the book. So wish me luck. That's like my favorite bookstore in the world. So I'm like, hopefully, that goes well. But
That would be awesome. So if people wanted to get more information about that or about where you're going to be signing or any of those things, where are you on social media that people can find you?
right. So I'm most active on Instagram. A lot of people have tried to get me on other platforms like TikTok and Facebook, and it's overwhelming to me. So Instagram is sort of my camp. But I'm RM Gray author on Instagram, and that's Gray with an A, not an E. And then
Mhm.
I also have a website, rmgraybooks.com. Again, that's Gray with an A. So that's kind of where you can find me. Yeah.
And you and your husband have started a blog
We're starting a podcast.
podcast.
Yes, and that's called Morally Gray with an A. That's actually the name of it. So
That's what I was like, I recognize that.
yeah, so we're excited about that. He was a film major in college and all of that. He loves storytelling. He's written a few screenplays and stuff. So we always talk to each other about storytelling, and we always like have made the comment, we should really be recording this. Like this is interesting. We should really record this. So I finally was like, look, we're doing this. I'm gonna make it official. I'm gonna announce it. And so he's been really excited. That's kind of his pet project right now. He's working on, getting it all ready and like setting up a little studio in our house. So we're excited.
That'll be very cool. Well, we'll put that on here too, the link to all those things. And that way people can easily find how to get with you and your husband and see what you guys are up to, and then be able to track too the subsequent books with Nightweaver. So
Awesome.
question, you said in your bio that you're a mac and cheese girl. Okay,
Yeah.
for you. Are you a purist that it has to be consumed in that original form, or are you one of the more outgoing that all these different alliterations of mac and cheese are just fine with you?
If it's mac and cheese, period, I will try it. Like if it's mac and cheese, whatever, I'm gonna try it. And like me and my husband, it's funny because my whole family knows it too. Like we try mac and cheese everywhere we go. Like if there's mac and cheese on the menu, we're like, we got to get mac and cheese. We got to try it. So I have some favorite spots for sure. I've told people like jokingly, maybe I'll make an Instagram just for my mac and cheese. Yeah, but we'll see.
Awesome. Well, Rebekah, thank you so much for this conversation. We are so excited. There's going to be a number of us bees down there at the Romantasy BookCon. So we're looking forward to getting to see you guys all in person and hit your table. And I can already tell, yeah, I'm going to be in line. I want to sign copies. Oh,
Thank you.
cover is gorgeous.
Thank
Did you
you.
sign that?
I did
Yeah.
not. I did not. I would love to say that I did, but I did not. My cover designer is a guy out of Serbia, actually, and we got connected through. He had made the map for the book, and I had needed a cover at that time, and I was like, would you like to do the cover? And I gave him. I always tell people he's just mind blowing. His talent is amazing because I gave him just a blurb. I gave him the blurb I give everybody, and I said, it's kind of dark. There's magic. There's fantasy. There's pirates and stuff. And he gave me this cover, and I was like, that's it. That's perfect. I never wanted to have any expectation in my mind for what I wanted my cover to look like. But I just kind of knew. I always tell people it's like with my wedding dress, like when you see it. And so I was like, that's it. That's the cover. So I'm thrilled. So
Yeah, and that was why the story is awesome. The cover is spectacular. So the combination, and then having a wonderful author behind it.
Thank you.
I need to sign one of this.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it. That made my day.